thanks for joining me to color. Today we're going to be working on this adorable Whimsy Stamps image called Christmas Friends. Aren't these two cute? I just love her. And I decided to go with the non-traditional blue colors for my card kit today. I thought that might be fun. So I'll go ahead and put a link to this down in the description box along with all of the supplies I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. Don't forget, if you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. And if you're loving the video so far, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. So I'm going to go ahead and I stamped my image on some Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock. So let's color. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give our girl here a background. So for that, we're going to use BG quadruple 0 and BG triple 0 for that. Nothing fancy. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my BG quadruple 0. And I'm going to pick some spots where I want it to be the darkest. So I'm going to go with this side of my packages. Let's do a little bit underneath this one that here is tipping down. And this one's kind of hanging over, so I'm going to do a little dab underneath that one that's hanging down. And I kind of go at a little diagonal there so that it kind of fades out. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to go underneath of her dress. And we'll go underneath of this little ball here. And then underneath of her dress is going to be some spots that you can see through to the other side. So you're going to want to do that. And then over here on this side, she's got this big patch that's underneath of her dress over here. Let's go ahead and lightly flick across to the little hat there. And then over here, she's got her skirt that comes up, but right here is a little space in between her hat and her dress. And then right here, there's a little bit of space where her hair and her head aren't touching. So that's all I'm going to do for that one. And then I'm going to take my BG quadruple 0 and I'm going to flick clear around the outside. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to start up here at the top of this little package and I'm just going to lay down my pen and I'm going to lightly flick away from my package. And this is such a light color that if you get some on the package, it's not going to matter because you won't see it. And I didn't bother with all of these little snowflakes and stuff either. I'm just going to try to avoid them a little bit. But again, if you go over the top of them, it's no big deal. We'll just erase it with our colorless blender later. Or you can use your Sharpie white paint pen or some other paint pen or white marker to make them white again. So I'm just going to go down here, and down here where I put that darker blue, I'm just going over the edge. Flick that along. And then we're also going to want to do over here by our little rabbit. And you could add some darker blue over here, but I'm not going to bother with that. See, I went right over the top of that snowflake, no big deal. And right here is a little space where you can see through the hat. And we'll go here. And we're going to go clear around to the other side. So we're just going to go around all these little bows and little snowflakes. And this little snowflake. And you could actually go all the way across so that you fill it all the way in, but I didn't bother with that. I just kind of started at the girl and flicked my way out to as far as my hand would go. And up here where I did her hair, I didn't care about that little bow. I just colored right over the top of it because we're going to color it blue later, so it'll cover that up. Same with this little string, just go right over the top of that. And it just gives it a nice little light blue background there for her to get started. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and we're going to do her skin. For that we're going to use the 11, 21, and 00. And I'm going to start with E11. And let's go ahead and go down here and we will do her legs first. So I'm just going to do, on the front of her leg, I'm just going to do a little line across the front. Same for this side. And then up here for her hand, I'm going to go right next to her little fur on her jacket. And then I'm going to color in this first finger and this second finger. Next we'll add our E21. So I'm going to go right over the edge of my E11 on her leg. So I'm just going to thicken it up a little bit. And then for her hand, we'll go a little bit next to her fur on her jacket. And then I'm going to fill in this third finger and this one. Let's go ahead and just fill in the rest because those are pretty dinky fingers, so we're just going to fill it in. of her legs, we're going to use E00 to fill them in. So I swipe over the back of her leg, and I kind of swiped over the front where I've added the last two colors. And then we're going to do her face. So again, grab your E11. And she's got a little bit of her ear showing right here. So I'm going to give that a little dab of color right there in the middle. And then let's go ahead and go up here where her bangs are hanging down on her forehead. And I'm just kind of putting my pen down up here where it starts and just flicking a little bit of that color down into her face. So when I start up here, it's a little bit thicker at the top, but as I come down, my hand picks up and it's swooping it up so it's not quite so dark at the ends. Like that. Next we'll add our E21. So again, I'm going to add a little bit to her ear. Let's go ahead and just fill that in. There's not much left. And then I'm going to touch down on my E11. And like I did before, I'm flicking down, but as I go towards the other side, my hand is picking up, so it gets a little bit lighter at the end. And then we'll take our E00 to fill that in. So let's go ahead and touch down on our E21 and flick to fill in the rest of this area. But then I also like to take this color and go over the rest that I already colored. I'm going the opposite direction here just so I don't cover the fur there. I don't want to get any on that because we're going to leave that kind of a white and I don't want to get any color on it. Alright, we're going to do her hair next. So for that we're going to use E33, E53, YR31, and E50. We're going to go ahead and start with E33 first, which is our darkest. And we're going to put a little bit of that down here where her little pigtail is. So she's got a little pigtail right here. And I'm going to put a little bit where her little bow comes out. It's kind of tied in a little knot right here. And then we're going to go up a little bit of this little, she's got kind of a braid in here. We'll give her braid a little bit of color. And then down here where it's kind of coming out of the braid, I'm going to hold my pen more upright. And I'm going to try to do some little lines that kind of come up and connect into the rest of her hair. Turn that a little bit. And then up here where her part is, I'm going to go ahead and touch my pen down lightly on the paper. And then we're going to flick out this way. I'm going to try to avoid that little snowflake because I'm going to leave those white. Turn her around. And I think she needs a little bit more right in here. So let's go ahead on the opposite side of the snowflake. And we're going to go with a little bit in just this little patch that's right here in the middle. Kind of so they're sporadic. They're not like touching the others. They're kind of spaced out here on the outside. Okay, and then we're going to do this side. So again, we're going to come over here and we're going to go with our little stripes. And you want your stripes to go in the direction that the hair is going. So you wouldn't want them to go like sideways. Okay, and then we've got down here a little bit on this side of her headband. And then she's got these great bangs. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of color into these bangs. Okay, and we'll probably come back and add a little bit more here in a bit, but we're going to go with that for right now. Then we're going to go with E53 next. So just like we did with the 33, we're just going to go in here and add a few more streaks of color. I'm just going to go with the shape of her head and lightly go right along all this hair right here. And again, I'm trying to avoid those little snowflakes or those part of her headband so that we don't color those because we're going to leave those white. I'm going to go over them later with my Spica glitter pen and add some sparkles to that. Add some to her bangs, and we'll do the same thing over here. We're keeping our lines going in the direction that the hair is going, so it kind of curves a little bit, so I'm curving my lines. Now we'll add YR31, same thing, just add some more lines in here. And this one's kind of a yellow color, so you may want to add, if you want it to be more this color, maybe add a few more streaks. If you want it to be more of the dark brown colors, then use those a little bit more. I kind of go with how it looks when I'm coloring it as to whether or not I want to add more of a color. That so far. So now I'm going to take my E50 and I'm going to go over all of her hair. I don't like the little white streaks that I leave in there, so I always tend to fill it in, but if you like how that looks, then leave a few little white patches visible and add some highlights in there. I just can never get it to look the way I want, so I tend to swipe over the entire thing and fill it in. Kind of squishes all the colors together and blends them together nicely when I do that. Do it this way. And then I come back with my darkest, which was E33, and I add those back in. Over here. And I'm liking how her hair looks like that. Next we're going to work on the blue stuff, so we're going to use BG53, B12, B01, and B00. Alright, so the things we're going to color blue will be the rabbit's hat, the alternate stripes on the rabbit's scarf, this second package, her headband, and her skirt of her dress, and then the little bow that's on this package and this package here. So let's go ahead and start over here on the little rabbit first. So we're going to do the alternate stripes on his scarf, but I'm also going to do this little zigzag section. So let's go ahead and do little bits of that. I'm just going to put a little bit on each side, and then you're going to pick a stripe you want to be blue. So I'm going to do this one, and then skip one, and then this one over here. And then we're also going to do his hat. So let's add a little dab of color along his hat. And I'm trying not to get it over here in the white part because we're going to color that. We're going to leave it white, so we don't want to get any blue on there. B53 is not really dark, but it's going to be hard to take off if you get a bunch on there. Next we'll go with B12. So I'm going to go over the top of my BG53. And for these little stripes down here, I'm going to go ahead and just fill those in. So there's not much left. And then down here we'll add a little bit more. I want to leave a little bit of room for another blue down here, so I'm not going to fill it all the way in. But I did go over the entire BG53 area, because this one's kind of a grayish color, so we're going to tone down this bright turquoise color and make it a little more blue-ish gray. Next we'll add B01 to fill it in. So even though these down here I filled them all the way in, I'm going to go over the top of that with this color. Down here we'll swipe over the last two colors and fill in the scarf. Same for this part, we'll go over the last two colors and fill in the white space that was left over. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop up here and we'll do the second package next. So we'll start with our BG53. So for the bottom of the package, since it's going to be really dark, I'm going to go ahead and fill that all the way in. And then over here on this side, we're going to go from along this way. I'm going to brush a little bit of color away from the edge of our package. And then down here, since it's dried, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a second coat. We're going to darken it up. going to be pretty dark underneath the box, so we want to make that a little bit darker. Then we'll go with our B12, and again I'm going to swipe over the top of this previous color so that it darkens it up and makes it our bluish gray color. It will more match the paper I picked rather than that turquoise, but I really liked how these 4 colors went together. Okay, then we get our ribbon, and then on this side we're going to go away from our ribbon, so I'm going to touch down right next to the ribbon and flick to my right, and as I flick to the right, my pen will pick up towards the end, so it gets a little bit lighter there at the end part. Next we'll have B01, and again I'm going to go over the top of my 2 previous colors, just darkening the whole package up. And then out here we'll touch down on our B12 and then flick past that into our white space. And then we'll take our B00 to fill it in. I'm going right across the entire package. And I think I'll give it a little swipe back here. It's still looking a little liney, so I'm going to go over it one more time. And then I'm going to take my BG53 to the bottom of the package for a 3rd coat. Okay, so let's go ahead, as long as we got this out, let's do this little package bow on here. And nothing fancy, I'm just trying to keep my blue inside that little bitty line that's there. It's not very big, so you're going to have to use just the tip of your pen. You could also use a glitter pen or a marker if you just wanted to color that in. Then over here, let's add a little bit to our hair bow. And since this side is tipped down, I'm going to pull it up to this very first, or in between the 2 little dots that are at the bottom of this little headband. Excuse me. Next we'll add our B12. Because we want to add our bluish gray color, I'm going to go over the BG53. So let's go ahead and color right over the top of that. And then we'll bring this color up towards her little part there. And since there's not much space, I'm going to just use my B01 to fill this little spot in. There wasn't much left there. Okay, let's hop down here and do the bow on this bottom package real quick. So grab your BG53, and it goes over here behind this pom-pom, so let's go ahead and do right here, and then I'm going to go around the corner, and then for this one, let's do a little bit where it's kind of shadowed underneath this wrapper, or underneath this ribbon, and then this way, and then we'll do inside this bow, and inside this bow, and I'm going to make this side come away from that knot just a little bit, and then each of those little straggly ends of the tie. Next we'll add our B12. So again, go right over the top of your BG53, and we're going to pull out a little bit. I'm going to fill this bottom one in because it's on the bottom and it's going to be darker. Fill in the centers of these little bows or ribbons. B01 is next. Let's go ahead and fill this in. Next, we got our cute little skirt. So start with your BG53. And over here it's coming away from her dress, so I'm going to go ahead and touch down next to her little hat. And then right here there's like a little line, so I'm going to use that as my wrinkle. So I'm going to come down that color, or down the line, then same thing, we'll go away from her hat, and then here's another little wrinkle, and then right there. Okay, then we're going to go past her hat, and right here is a big section that's got a line on it, so I'm going to make this recede by putting this color in there. We'll make it darker. And then it kind of goes down here, so we're going to want up here to be the lighter part. So let's go ahead and add a little bit next to the left side of this line. And I'm going to say this little section is folded in. And then we're going to go up. And then we go here. And then here's a little line. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of color on there. And then here's a line. I'm going to say this whole section right here is up. So we're going to go on this side of the line. And it kind of folds over right here, so make sure to get on this side. But right here, you can see the back of the skirt. So color that. And over here, this is folded. And let's see, here's a little wrinkle. Let's go ahead and get that. I'm going to do a little bit away from our coat right here. Here. And then here's another wrinkle. And underskirt. And then this looks like it goes out. And look, here's a big valley, so let's bring that out here. And let me see, let's go on the left side, or the right side of this, the upper side of this wrinkle. So it looks like it's a little darker in there. Okay, let's start with that. We'll see how that goes. Next, we'll add our B12. So go right over the top of your BG53. So I'm coloring over the top of it, and then I'm bringing it out into my white space. And even though I filled that in, I went ahead and went over it again. Bring a little bit out here. And that one I'm going to leave for I think I'll leave this one right here just for our next two colors, so it'd be really light because it's kind of sticking on the top there. I want it to feel like it's more up in the air. Next we'll add B01. Go down this one, and we'll leave this little white space right here for our lightest color. Same for this one. Let's go ahead and bring a little white space here. Leave a little bit of white there. And then for this one, I think I'm going to go down this side, a little bit in the middle, and then down this side, so we'll have this big white patch. Trying to make some white spaces so it looks like the top of the ruffle comes up and then it's got a light spot. Like the pleats raising up in the air. Okay. Next we'll add our B00. So for this color I like to go over the entire skirt. Even though I already colored all this stuff, I still like to swipe over it because it helps to smooth out my lines a little bit more. And get a little bit on your snowflakes, that's okay because we can use our colorless blender to erase that. Because I know I've colored over a couple, so I'm not going to stress over. Like this one right here, I colored blue. We will just take our colorless blender that, and it will take care of that right away. Let me grab my colorless blender. So I'll just take that, and I'm just going to touch it down inside my little dots. And kind of let the ink pool there, and it'll push that color right off of it. And then I'm liking how our skirt looks, so I'm going to leave it like that. But if you wanted to darken it up, you could add a second coat. Or let's go ahead and take our BG 53 and just add a few of these little contrast lines back in. So like right up here near the top and then down each of these little lines so that it will look like it's pushing it back in a little bit more. I want to get the underskirt here too, so that we make sure to get that. Okay, we're going to do our coat next. For that, we'll use E44, 43, 42, and 41. Okay, so we're going to use E44 first. We don't want to use too much of this. We don't want it to be too dark on there, so on our jacket, I'm going to go with a little bit right where her little fur is, and then it touches the edge of this hat. And there's a star right there, so I don't want to color that. And then for her sleeve, I'm going to go right along the edge of this line. And again, I'm trying to keep my line pretty small. And that's all I'm going to put on there for that, because I don't want it to be too dark. Okay, 43 is next. So for our 43, I'm going to touch down on 44, and we're just going to flick away from that color, come up here into our white area, and then down here, let's go ahead and do this jacket. So I'm going to pull this. I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the sleeve area. And maybe a little bit underneath this package. Next, we're going to add 42. So you touch down on top of 43, bring it up into your white, and again, try to avoid those stars, but if you do get a little bit on there, it's okay. This one's pretty light, so we'll be able to erase that with our colorless blender. I'm just trying to be extra careful and not get any on there. I got a little bit of a line still right here, so I'm going over this section one more time. And we'll take our 41 to fill this in. And there's a little bit of her other side of her sweater showing right here, so we're going to fill that in. And there's a little line, so I'm going back over this section one more time. Okay, we're also going to use our browns to do her little hat. So let's go ahead and we'll start with 43 for our hat. And right up here where it's touching our jacket, we're going to do a little dab right here. And I'm going to go underneath this fur, backside. Then I'm going to skip a little stripe, and we're going to do this one. Skip one. And over here, it's kind of floating out on the outside, so I'm going to leave that for a lighter color. And then we're going to take 42 to fill it in. So we're going to fill in each one of these little stripes. So I kind of flick on the edge of my previous color and then swipe over the entire rest of my swipe, or my area there. We're going to grab 43 again, and we're going to do her little shoes. So for her little shoe, let's do this little section. And then we'll do skip a stripe, and then this one right here. I'm going to fill that one in because you don't see very much. And then I'm going to go over here and we'll go, there's a stripe, here's a stripe, skip this little section. Okay, and again over here we'll do this bigger section right here. Skip the stripe, this one, skip one, and this. And then we'll grab 42 to fill it in. We'll fill in each of those little stripes. And we also need these over here on the little rabbit's scarf. So again, 43. And then our 42 to fill that in. And again, I touch down on the top or the edge of my 43, and then I fill it in and then I swipe over the entire thing after I've gone over that edge a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do the fur on our little outfit, so we'll use W3, 1, and 00. So I'm going to go ahead and start with W3. So let's go ahead and start on a little rabbit over here. So he's got a little pom-pom on his hat. So I'm going to, where I want it to be darkest, I'm going to add a few little dots of my W3. So I want it to be darker on this bottom side. And then I'm going to also do his tail, because I'm going to use C's to do his body. So I'm going to make his tail be a little bit different color. So we'll do right next to his body with the W3. And then we'll do his hat. So down here in the back, it's going to be darker. So I'm going to put a few larger dots. And then as I come up, I'm going to make some smaller dots up here. And to do that, you have to be quicker with your pen and not touch the paper so long. So I just barely touch the paper and then quickly pull it back up so that it doesn't leave too much ink there. Just a little bit. And then for his belly, I'm going to also do that. So let's go ahead and do a little dab right under his arm and around over here. Next we'll add W1. So for his belly, I'm going to touch down on my W3, flick out here into the white. And then we'll add some dots to the rest of our fur. Remember, we want his hat to be, the fur to be white, so we're just getting the appearance of it being darker at the bottom edge. I'm not adding a bunch, just a little bit to darken it up. You can also put some crafty fluff on there or some sparkles. Next we'll go with our W0, our 00. Fill his belly in, and then we'll add some to the rest of the fur. And it's okay to go over some of the other dots you already did. It will help smush those out and blend everything together. And we're going to go do the same thing over here for her little outfit. So let's do the fur first. So let's go ahead and do a little dab down here on this little part of her sleeve. And it's going to be darker down here at the bottom, so I'm going to add a few more down here at the edge. And then for her hat, let's do a few over here. And kind of randomly bring a little bit smaller ones over here towards her sleeve. And her head kind of tilts over here, so I'm going to add a little bit up here where her head is kind of touching it. Then we'll do this little guy here. So we'll add some dots down here along the bottom. And then we're also going to use these colors to do her hat. So let's give it a little swipe along the lines of our hat. I'm going to go over here And then over here, I'm going to switch sides. I think it'd be a little bit darker right there on this bottom half. And then her shoes will also be, the alternate stripes will be this color. And these ones over here, I'm going to save for my lighter colors. W1's next. So we'll go ahead and add some dots. So let's go ahead and start down here at this pom-pom. And then we can add a few little swipes to our shoe. And I'm going to add a little dab to this shoe this time. And fill in this back section. Give little dots on her fur. And then our W00 to finish it off. And over here on her fur for her little hat, or the stripes on her hat, I don't go all the way to the edge up here on this big one. I left it a little bit white there at the edge. Let's see, we got our shoes down here. All right, let's do some of the yellow packages. So for that, we're going to use YR 24, 21, and 31. All right, YR 24. Let's go ahead and start up here at this top package. So I'm going to use this color to do the ribbon on the box. And then I'm going to do the inside of the bows. And then for this one, same thing, we'll do the inside of the bow. Maybe a little bit on this back side of this one. And then I'm going to go down the center of this ribbon. Then this cutie here. So let's do these stars. And these are pretty small, so you're going to want to use just the tip of your pen. You could also leave them and let them be you could actually color them in with your Spica glitter pen if you didn't want to go with all that, which I think I'll add some later. So now I'm going to go down the back side of this package, and we're going to go around her little sleeve and over here just to color this a little bit darker. Okay, then we got our bottom package. So the bottom package, let's go right next to this fur, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in this. And fill in this bottom section. And then we're going to want to come around the corner, so let's go around the corner along the bottom. Like that, we'll try that. And up here, her shoe is on here, so I'm going to color this little section in. Oh, and she's got these little balls right here. Let's give those little bells a little slash of color. Next, YR 21. Okay, so our top package, let's go ahead and add a little dab of our 21 to each of our little areas. I'm going to go ahead and fill this one in. I got a little bit of blue on this one. That's okay. Okay. Add a little bit to our bell. Okay, and then our package. So we've got this package up here. So I'm going to go ahead and swipe out here to my ribbon. Okay, I'm liking that. We'll go down here and add some to this package. And let's go around the corner and on the top of this ribbon. And then I'm also going to add a little bit right over here at the top. We're going to try that and see how that goes. Okay, then we got our YR31. So we're going to fill it in. So let's go ahead and fill in any places that you have some white left. So this little ribbon up here, this package. And this package down here. If you have any space on your bells, you can fill that in. And let's see, we got the YR24 again. Let's go ahead and fill in these little stars on her sweater. We don't want to forget those. Alright, so for our little rabbit, we're going to use C3100, R20 and 30 for his cheeks and the inside of his ear. So let's go ahead and do our little rabbit's ear first. So let's start with R20. So I'm going to go ahead and do right underneath this line on his ear. And then I'm going to add a little dab to his nose. And then I want him to have some cheeks. So let's go with a little round cheek right here. About right there. And then right here. That looks pretty good, I think. And we're going to soften it with R30. Fill in his nose. And soften the edges of R20. And we may need to add a little bit more after we do the colors, but we'll leave it like that for right now. So we're going to start with C3. Okay, so down here on the bottom of his ear, I'm going to do a little stripe of my C3. A little dab right here where his hat's touching. That. And then let's go on the bottom of his hand. And this one over here, I'm going to go with this side and then the bottom of his arm. And then we're going to go underneath of his scarf and around on his butt. I don't want it to go out too much because I want him to be a fairly light colored rabbit. So I don't want it to go out too far. And let's see, then we got his face. Let's go underneath of his hat. Okay, so far so good. Next, we'll go ahead and we'll add C1. So we're just going to swipe away from our C3 a little bit, soften those edges. And we'll take our C00 to fill it in. So I tend to go over the entire area. So even though I color down here, I tend to swipe over that. That will help me soften those colors. Okay, we're also going to use these colors on this last package over here and this little tag. So let's go ahead with our WRRC3 first. So right here on this package, it's got a couple little sections that are folded in. So I'm going to color those and the bottom. And for this one, let's do just a little bit of a line underneath of our ribbon. And then C1's next. So again, let's do a little line along the edge of this package right here. And then I'm going to do this bottom section. And then over here, we'll do above the ribbon. And we'll soften this line. Next is C00. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this package all the way in. And our tag. Or our paper. Alright, so now that we've got her all colored, let's go ahead and add our spigot glitter pin. So I like to add some sparkles on here, so I'm going to go ahead and just add some sparkles to all of these little snowflakes. Just because. You totally don't have to. How about this little bell too on her shoe? I think that would maybe have some sparkles. You can also use some Stickles Stardust or some Stickles, I think there's one called Crystal. I think that would be pretty. I'm just adding some glitter to each of these little packages. And I think I'll add some, since I left these white, I'm going to add some to these little snowflake things on her headband. And I'm not being neat because you can barely see the sparkles, but it just adds a little bit of shimmer whenever you turn the card a little bit. So we'll just add a little bit on there. Oh, I didn't color her little hair bow. That's okay. If you want to color that in, you could color that one of your blue colors. I would pick BG53 just because it's the darkest and it will show up just a little bit more. But I think I'll just leave mine white for now. Add some glitter to my package. And I think I'll do a little bit on these stars. Maybe the stars on this package, that would be pretty. Even though we colored them the darkest color, we'll just go ahead and add a little sparkle on there. And maybe this ribbon. Okay. Alright, so I got my girl all colored up, so let's go ahead and put it all together. So you're going to get all this stuff in your card kit, so let's go ahead and start by attaching her to the background piece here. Nothing fancy. Whoops. I was trying to get away. Just stick this on here. Try to get it straight, Heather. Alright, let's set her over here for a minute. Okay, so you're going to have all this stuff, so you can decide what you want to do. It's double-sided, so this one has little flags on the back, so I'm going to go with the plaid. If you guys have made it this far in the video and you're enjoying it so far, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget I've listed everything down in the description box in case you would like to pick this card kit up. I only made a few, so if you want this one, you're going to want to head over and grab it up because she's pretty cute. I know there's not many days left until Christmas, but I couldn't resist coloring this last little card kit up. I thought she would be super cute. And she doesn't really have, she doesn't have a Christmas saying on her. She doesn't come with a saying, so you could use, you could send her after Christmas as a thank you. Okay, next you're going to have this one, or you can use, this is kind of pretty, let's see. Too much blue. But if you turn it over like this, you could do it this way. But I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the snowman here on the front. Even though you're not going to see very much of the snowman, we're going to cover most of this up. It's just going to be peeking out a little bit. You might see this little girl maybe, or these mittens. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and use these cute little coffee cups of coffee or hot cocoa. I originally, when I started the kit, I picked this blue paper first because I thought this blue on this side went really pretty with the dress. But then after I put it together, I decided I liked this side with the little saucers of hot chocolate better. Okay, next we'll add her. And I didn't really put anything straight on here. I've got everything all cattywampus on there and just kind of randomly put on there. And then this one's not too bulky, so you could go ahead, I didn't pop her up, but you could pop her up. Let's see, straighten up here so I can kind of see. So I don't want to put my head in the middle of the camera, so I'm holding the paper straight. All right, then next we got a couple little snowflakes. So your little snowflakes will probably come with all these little parts in here, so you're gonna have to just pop those out. That will only take you a second. I got glue on the end of that. That's definitely not going to come out that way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in just the center part of this snowflake. You could also dip it in, put some glue on this and dip it in some glitter so that it has glitter on it. That would be pretty. Totally up to you. Whenever I use glitter, I tend to get glitter everywhere and wear it for days and days. And then there's this one. Not giving me any glue. I'm going to go ahead and put this one down here. And then next, you're going to have this little snowflake banner. So for a little snowflake banner, I wanted it to be popped up in the middle of these two. So I am going to find my scissors. I'm going to go ahead and use some of this tape here. I tip it over, make sure it's on the back side. This one's foam tape. I always save the edges of my foam tape because you just never know when you're going to need a little strip like this one that will fit perfectly right up here on the edge of that snowflake banner. It fits between the snowflake and the edge perfectly. That. And then we're going to need a little bit down here too, so let's go ahead and cut a couple more for down here. But it just fits perfectly in between that snowflake and the edge of that die. I love that. So that's why I always save that part. Okay, then, so that it glues down to the edge of the card, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on these little sections. And for this one. And I'm going to peel this paper off. Over, and then we're going to have that go up here. And last time I wasn't very good at putting it down, so it went off the edge of the card, so pay attention when you're putting it down so that the banner is on your card. And let's tap these down, and then we'll put these, and then we'll flatten more on the card so it looks like it's kind of attached and billowing up here in the middle. Oh, I did better. I didn't have to cut it off. Last time I had to cut it off. And you just hold it down for a second and it will allow that glue to adhere. Same for these little snowflakes. You could also, if you have some pearls or something in your stash, you could add a pearl to the center of these little snowflakes. I think that would look really pretty. Or maybe add some more glittery stuff up here on these little headband things. I think that would look really pretty too if you added some, maybe do them gold, or I'm not sure, but maybe color them up a little bit. But there is our Christmas Friends all colored up. Didn't she turn out great? If you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the little bell next to it so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Don't forget, I've listed everything I use down in the description box in case you would like to do some shopping. Otherwise, I hope you are having a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.